Right behind it. By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated after they lost their quote unquote property? The government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, they really want to have that conversation because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparation are not only just Black people, but also the people whose quote property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
You muted. First day back, you already got buzzed.
I'm trying to do it all right. Hey, we back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for holding out. My name is Anthony Goodson, alongside Adrian The Ace Stinson, and we are Rebranders.
The skeleton crew. What's going on? Goodson, glad to be here, man. It's good to be back in action.
Hey, man. Hey, look, first of all, we want to talk about, of course, you guys just saw that clip a moment ago about Larry Elder. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about COVID. Sha'carri, we're going to talk about these now hiring signs all over the place, but are they really hiring? Man, there's a lot of things that has happened since we've been gone off the air. Like, for example, where in the world did this crate challenge come from?
Man, I don't know. Some bored people say, you know what? I wonder what would happen if. They made it happen.
We got a couple funny videos of the day and just COVID in general. And that's what we really want to get into first. Let's talk about COVID. So,
let's talk about it.
A lot of people don't know this because I didn't really just go and broadcast this, but I had COVID. Okay. Now that we got that out in the air.
Yeah. So that's where we been. Everybody was sick.
All right, let's see what Eric has to say. Eric, did you too have COVID?
No, I did not. Not that I've never been diagnosed with COVID. I can't say I never had it.
Okay.
Oh, you know if you had it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, anyway, we were gone for quite a while because 2 out of 4, I believe Kim at one point had COVID as well, but way before. We both had COVID, and let me tell you, I don't know. I think that I had a change of heart in the middle of all this COVID thing. I was gung-ho about not taking the vaccine. They're not putting a chip in me. They're not going to do me like they did the experiment in the 1930s with Black people. All the stuff that you could possibly throw in the air, I was grabbing all of that stuff. But then when I got COVID,
what's that COVID? Put it on your mind, huh?
COVID changed things quickly. It makes you, because the reality is if you get the vaccine and then sometime later you get COVID, it's a much milder situation. Taking point, I did it kind of at the same time. I got COVID and I got the vaccine. So that's one of the reasons why mine was so rough. But Ace had the vaccine first, right?
Yeah, the first shot. This is an unpopular opinion, and a lot of people tell me I gotta be crazy and things like that. But and this is just my opinion. Definitely, this is not the views of Rebranders as a whole. I did not get COVID until I got that first shot. I'll just leave it there. So I'm not gonna say it gave me COVID or anything like that. I just know for 2 years I was perfectly fine. No symptoms, no sickness. Got the first shot, and I'm out of there.
So you believe that it may have had something to do with it. Kirby Morton, what's up, man?
I'm saying that it could possibly have had something,
Well, okay. Well, nevertheless, what do you think, Eric? I know you hadn't had COVID just yet, but do you think that COVID, getting the shot is like the flu shot? Do they give it to you? Are you more susceptible to it at the beginning, or what's the deal?
If you follow the science or whatever, I don't know if you can see the mRNA version of it. Not supposed to give you the actual virus, but I've heard, I can say multiple people, but more than one person say they've gotten COVID after they gotten the vaccine. But I've also heard people say, like you said in the beginning, that because they had the vaccine prior, that they believe their symptoms were more mild. So I think, like I said, it's a person-to-person basis. We'll talk a little bit more about like how this is a opinion that everybody wants to weigh in on, and you can't have one. You got to think my way or there's no way. We're talking more about that.
And I definitely and I have to let people, the people out there, know. So I am vaccinated. I'm not an advocate for the vaccination. I did it for other reasons. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. I can say though, when you're sitting there with COVID and it's getting real, you think of all the angles. You think about how you feel. You think about how other people feel. You think about possibilities, and it's kind of like, even if you say against the vaccine, you kind of get to thinking like, how bad could it be? Because it gets real.
Well, let me tell you, I am a firm believer in. I'm back in COVID vaccines. I'm back in. But see here, look,
Put a whipping on that boy.
I took the. I had COVID, and I had the basic COVID, whatever the SR50, whatever the numbers are. But I did not have the different variances of COVID. You know what I mean? Like, what's the new one? They got the Mu or something to that nature. And they also have
They got cow COVID.
They got the new one. So the Delta. They have these new variances of COVID. And I mean, mine was pretty rough. Just imagine if I had one of these new variances that they say are even worse. So I mean, but then again, they say the vaccines don't work against all those. I don't know about that, but anyway, if they do, then I certainly am backing it. Please share this page tonight. Go down to your share button, click share, send it to your page. Let's have some fun. We want y'all to continue to comment. Make sure you say what you want to say. Rebrand us is okay with that. We have Ace on here. That's his job to kind of keep things.
Hey, y'all share this page tonight.
All right, Eric, what were you saying?
No, I would say that there are some differences in according to. I would say always check with your PCP doctor that you're really comfortable and somebody you trust. But there are differences in the type of vaccines too. I know the FDA has approved Pfizer or whatever. Some people think Moderna's better, and they said sometimes it lasts longer for susceptibility against the virus or whatnot. I hadn't heard anybody say really great things about J&J other than the fact that it's only one dose instead of two. So really, if you do decide or are considering taking the vaccine, just make sure you continue to get educated about it and make your decisions based on your personal need. And I'll say this later on too. If you have a relationship with God, based on your relationship with God, if He tells you this, then you know what you got to do. If He doesn't tell you,
make sure you ain't drunk and your uncle leaving you a voicemail. Now you come up to your God, and Uncle Kirby, where the hell you at? Answer the phone.
Yeah. You muted.
You muted. Hold on.
So Kirby's asking if he can join. Absolutely. We are open tonight. Tonight we are rejoining you, our Facebook family. So Kirby, I got the link in the comments below. Rebrand this podcast. Just click on that and you can come right on in. But we're talking about the COVID vaccine. We're talking about COVID itself. Myself and Ace, we both had COVID. We were out for about 6 weeks. We haven't had a rebranded show in about 6 weeks, I believe. So that's kind of kept us back a little bit. But now we want to push it on. Got a lot of things we want to talk about. All right. So we're in the middle of this COVID pandemic. A lot of things we've seen. People lose their jobs, unemployment, all the different checks that we're getting, all these great things. But as I drive down the street, Eric, Ace, I see now hiring signs on every corner, but I think I see it more than that.
Yeah.
The question is, are people really hiring?
Yeah, I think there was some. I know in my company, we definitely kind of suffering from that. COVID. You got two situations. You got some companies that were hit by COVID. People were out. You got some companies that were affected by the unemployment. People were making more. People were making more money at home than they would be if they got up and came to work. Some people say that's lazy, but I kind of balance it out. I'm like, so they took the more money route. I'm pretty sure when that runs out, they'll go back or whatever. Or then, some people hit a lick, so, it is what it is. But yeah, we have companies. The thing that gets me, just like, some companies I know, you have the now hiring, it's urgent. We need employees. We don't have employees, but y'all still acting a fool at the interview process and stuff and scrutinizing and going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. In the third grade, it says they sent a letter home because you were talking in class. Can you tell us about that? Like, look, I thought y'all was high.
Right.
Well, I know of several people who has gone out. I had to look to see if I was muted. I know several people who has gone out on these job interviews and they're waiting to hear back, but they got the now hiring sign up front or now interviewing or whatever, and never heard anything back. So now my question is, are you guys really high? Now, of course, I see mostly fast food restaurants and maybe some car places, tires, different places like that. But in the state of Texas, where I live, most people are no longer receiving that extra check. So I'm trying to figure out, why is everybody still hiring and why is no one going back to work? Y'all have any answers to that?
Well, here where I live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, it's the same. We had the same thing going on. You have the hiring sign, but they stay there. Like I said, so the companies are saying, yes, we're hiring these workers, but they're not hiring any other workers.
Eric?
Well, I'll say this. I believe this company is hiring. So anybody want to go to Popeyes, go to Popeyes and go get you a job. Because every time my wife goes by there, she is she's always greeted with, "Hey, great to see you. Do you want a job?" Going through the drive-thru, getting some food. So I'm pretty sure Popeyes in any location, if they have a sign up, they will hire you. Maybe even on the spot in the drive-thru.
Ain't nobody going up there to fist fight next time they come out with that chicken sandwich.
We're going to go to a rebrand us viewer, and we're going to give him 5 minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit here in just a moment. Let's go to him now, actually. Kirby Morton, what's going on, Kirby?
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Hey,
Yes,
Kirby,
sir.
I hear you loud and clear. How you doing?
Hey, man, good. Hey, appreciate the invite.
Absolutely.
I always join these conversations and always learn something from you guys. And everybody's got a different perspective on things, and
Absolutely.
here to provide mine. A lot. I agree with what y'all have said already. My personal experience with COVID was I was a little reluctant at the beginning. I kind of wanted to see some results as to what the potential effects were down the line. Had I known it, I would have done it earlier. My son, I've got twin boys that are 17. By the way, I tried to get Anthony to join my sales team a while ago, and he turned us down. I just want.
Hey, I've regretted it ever since, Kirby. I remember.
No, good dude. I appreciate the invite. So let me back up 2 weeks. I had my twin boys are 17. They were with their mom at the time. We got split custody, 50-50. They both came down positive with it. One of them had about symptoms for 48 hours, kind of flu-like, fever, didn't feel all great, a little bit of temperature. The other one took a dive, and after a couple of days, his was just my ex-wife, his mom decided to take him to the hospital because I told her she probably needed to take him up there, and he spent 9 days in the ICU.
Wow.
On a BiPAP, and those are medical industry. 15 liters of oxygen. He had double COVID pneumonia in his lungs because he had so he had asthma as a kid, and it exasperated it. So,
17.
If I could give any advice, it would be and this is 100% on me as the dad, to protect your kids just as y'all are doing. Knowing what he had, I wouldn't have waited again. And he's back at school. He's about 90%. When that gets your lungs, you got a lot of rehab to do to get you be able your breathing back up to where it's supposed to be and all that. But I think my take on it is I'm tired of it being politicized.
Absolutely.
And, every man and every woman to his own has a choice whether or not they feel like that's in their best interest. I feel like a little bit of that choice is being taken away, but the other side of me also thinks that those decisions, as historical as I feel I am, might be for the betterment of the healthcare of our country. So I'm kind of stuck in between. I still think people should have their choice, but I also don't necessarily buck the system too much when they say, as an employer, you have to be vaccinated. Anthony and I we're in home care, or if you ever want to get back in.
So is Ace.
He's a hell of
Ace is too. I can't point direction, but Ace, so is he. He's in the same industry as us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I feel like that some of it's common sense. We're in healthcare. We're going into nursing homes. Our clinicians are going into nursing homes. We're going into assisted livings and hospitals. Why are you not? Why are you not protecting yourself and take that home to your families and everything else? Those that aren't, man, I can tell you this. Maybe if I lived in the country and I was on my 50 acres that I hope to be on at some point,
Right.
and I'm not all that many people, I may wait a while, but I'm not. And I feel like I got a little bit of guilt in my heart that I didn't get my kids vaccinated when I probably should have. And I'm not saying that if anybody hasn't yet, I feel like you should. That's 100% your own decision as a parent. But when you see your kid, he started off at Plano. I don't know if everybody's in Dallas right now, but started off at Plano Children. They immediately put him in, got him a room. There's no hospital beds around Dallas anywhere. They were going to have to transfer him to Oklahoma City. They ended up finding a room downtown at Dallas Children's, and he was in the ICU because anytime he would take off his oxygen just to go use the restroom, he desat to like 78 and get light. So he was on high flow, BiPAP to help him breathe, all sorts of COVID medications and antibiotics to help his lungs recover. And I felt a lot of guilt about that when I was up there with him for a week, and I felt like I failed him. And I just don't want any other parents to feel the same way. But at the same time, it's your choice as a parent. I think everybody hopefully thinks that they know how to make the best choice for their own kids. When it comes to professional environment, I think it's a no-brainer. When you do what we do and you're in healthcare or you're around everybody in retail or anything else that you do, I mean, not just for yourself, but what you take home and what you might give to somebody else and take home. I mean, if you don't have, I tell you this, my ex had she had breast cancer about 6 or 7 years ago, and there's a lot of studies from her. She was never vaccinated because they said based on some of the side effects of getting the vaccination, if you've had these certain circumstances healthcare wise in your past, it's not in your best interest. And she didn't, and luckily she hadn't gotten it. But
that's the scary part, Kirby.
I don't think
the scary part.
My point is, even with I got buddies that are on this side of the fence, hardcore Marine Corps guys that, not going to tell me what to do. And I've got those that say, we have people in place in our government to tell us what they feel like is the best interest of the government. We need to take heed to their recommendations. So there's some sort of middle ground, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't think that decision should be taken away from anybody to determine if that's in your best interest or not, unless you work in a hospital, you're around people, and the opportunity that you potentially spread that to other people and get other people sick. I couldn't live with that every night if I knew that I didn't get vaccinated and I ended up making other people ill. So anyways, that's my soapbox.
Okay, answer this for me, Kirby, as an employer with employees. How do you approach? I know they were saying that the mandate, as far as I don't know if it's in yet or anything, but like if you have 100 employees or more, you have to mandate it. How do you approach that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So CMS and OSHA have come out with some potential guidelines that dictate in healthcare related environments, you may end up being in a space where you don't have a choice. If you're going to be in a patient patient-centered type of care in the home, in a hospital, in an assisted living, in a nursing home, in a rehab, that you don't have a choice. And that's coming down pretty soon. There's some hospital systems here in Dallas, Presby, Methodist, one in Houston, where I'm from originally, that mandated it as a condition of your employment. And some of them lost quite a few. We're going to go by what the recommendation is. I work for Life Care. It's not a huge company, but we're going to go on based on what the recommendation is and what the mandate is to make sure we're trying to keep everybody as safe as possible. We may lose some nurses. I mean, I'm not lying to you, Ace. We've got some in Florida. We got some in Florida. We've got some in Las Vegas that are just 100% as a clinician. And it's not religious based. It's not healthcare based. It's just, I don't want it. And I don't know what the future holds for those individuals. And that's just a decision that they got to make. Some of this stuff's out of our control. I mean, if they mandate it, you know.
It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get hard because I mean, you know, we're already facing staffing issues now. You know, of course, it's scary because of the amount of staffing we have compared to the patients. You know, we need to get them care and everything. So we gotta put our seatbelts on because this is far from over.
So Kirby, I have a question. We got to take a quick break in just a moment. Don't go nowhere. I want you to answer this question that I have, and we'll see you in just a little bit. We got Rebrand What with Eric coming up.
Rebrand us. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian The Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Russell.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Goodson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, or the first blacks to do something, their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's Rebrand You, Rebrand Me. It's Rebrand Us.
Rebrand.
I think that definitely is foundation of for everything. Because if you don't have love or a passion for something, you're not going to fight towards it. My kids are very young still at this point, 4 and 2. However, teaching them to respect themselves, respecting each other. Rebranding's mission basically is to help empower Black people to envision ourselves as better people.
All right, we are back. My name is Anthony Goodson alongside Adrian The Ace Stinson.
What's up, world?
We got our guest in, Kirby Morton. Kirby offered me a job some time ago. Maybe I'll be seeing him later. You know what? My boss might be watching now, so scratch that.
Hey, how about we start our own deal and just start one from scratch? And
hey, you know what? That's the going rate. That's the smart thing to do, to be honest with you, because now you can change everything up. And honestly, okay, and Eric, we're gonna give Eric his spot here in just a little bit. Yeah. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and go to Eric because we can talk about this all day. Eric, what you got for us?
Oh man, been a while since been on Rebrand. Man, I'm so glad that we're back. Sometimes Rebrand What is a funny thing. I kind of wanted to pick it back off something Kirby said earlier. I mentioned earlier about the politicism of what's going on with COVID and choices in general. I just want to talk about that for a brief moment. We can discuss it as a panel as well. But everybody, first I want to say I don't recognize myself as a Republican or a Democrat. And for a long time I haven't, and I really don't do it now. I only recognize myself as a Christian, right? So I'm going to make my decision based on my belief system. So with that being said, I'm not on either side. I'm not on the Republican side, not on the Democrat side, because I think that's where we get so stuck in. You gotta prove a point to somebody else based on their belief versus your belief, and that's not necessarily what we're going to do or trying to do as America. We should be trying to do that. We should be trying to unionize literally and figure out how to forego anything that's happening right now and get past any of this stuff. And all we can do, only way we can do that is if we can actually have some kind of common ground, like Kirby said earlier. If I can sit there and talk to Kirby and we have different opinion, and I'm actually listening to him again, he's listening to me. Obviously, we can actually have some common ground. Also, we can also learn from each other. I've said this before, and I've said it 100 times. If we can't do that as adults, how do you expect our kids to learn how to communicate with each other and learn from each other? And so, from a maturity standpoint, we have to get to the point where we can actually have a conversation with somebody different from us, come from a different background, different race, different financial stance, different political stance. We have to be able to have a conversation with any kind of people from different sides of the fence. And I want us to be one of those bridges to accommodate some of those conversations to continue happening. And I know sometimes we get real caught up. Even myself, I've been caught up in trying to prove a point to other people, and that's not necessarily who I am as a person. That's not necessarily who I want me to represent Brandon's or God, for that matter. I just want to be able to put some things on the table for discussion, not necessarily prove a point to anybody. Because I've learned as an adult, I can't change anybody's mind. If their mind is made up, I'm not gonna be the one to change it. I give facts, I give my opinion, and I leave it up to them. And secondly, I would just want to say the real quick about being a Christian and believing in God. I've been guilty of this myself too, in regards to having a strong opinion about something, and then saying, "Hey, I believe God. This is God's plan." And no one God had told me nothing. He told me nothing, right? So in that moment, I'm using God's name in vain. I'm stepping his approval on something that he didn't tell me about. This is my opinion, and it's strong. I don't want to live like that any further, and I want to embark on this in the journey with everybody else. If you're a Christian, you believe in God, believe in Jesus. I want us to be able to have these conversations. Say this is my opinion, but don't put God's name on it and stamp it like he said it, because people will bring out scripture all the time about something they believe. But believe me, you go to one verse in the Bible, there's 20 other verses to back that verse up. So you can't use that one scripture to back something you say technically. You got to go through 20 other scriptures to get to the point. So I just want to kind of highlight that too. But I'm glad we have this conversation today. It's great to be back again, guys. Rebrand what? We can discuss if you guys want to.
So our main man, Leonard McDonald, said people see through the lens of their belief, so introducing your belief doesn't replace their lens. It's a very great point. But, going back to what you just said, Eric, people try to use their faith to control God. Mm-hmm. And that's not what it's for. I mean, your faith is to put you in a certain place to get you a certain kind of closeness with God. And we're not going to get too deeply spiritual, but I don't mind if we do. But, the reality of faith is not controlling God. You can't believe God for the 6 numbers and think that just because you said you believe it, that you're going to get it. And so, I think that going back to this whole COVID thing, certainly pray about it. Pray about it. Pray about everything you do. The Bible says seek ye first. But, Kirby, this goes back to the question that I was going to ask you earlier. It's funny. We pray about it. I pray and you pray. Maybe Ace pray and Eric pray. Well, I gotta have a baby. So I said you because you're the one person who said, I think it was you who said, well, I'm not really for the COVID. And so you're the opposition of the rest of us. Okay. But the point I'm trying to make is all 4 of us pray and we might get 2 different answers, I guess. Should I take this COVID vaccine? And he may say yes to 2 of us. And he may say no to the other. And it's funny because one of my next door neighbors, she is so adamant. She's so against it. No, don't take it. But I know other people who are like, definitely take it. I prayed about it. God says take it. Both people are saying this, Anyway, that's a whole nother point. So I guess if I had a question, my question would be, where does it come from? You got some people praying and getting both answers. You got white people who say take it and don't take it. Black people who say, you got military people. You got healthcare people. Why is it that people are so on both sides of this particular situation?
Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
Oh yeah.
And one thing, I obviously pray. I'm pretty involved in my church, and I feel like that I got the response, not intentionally, of a lot of people that when my son was in ICU, that I felt it, and and I get emotional over it. And I'm not an over emotional person, but when it's happening, it's happening. Mm-hmm. And I not only pray for him individually, but from a trying to not be selfish, I pray for those that don't feel like they can make their own decisions based on the fact that everything that comes to them over TV and media and everything else makes them question it. It makes you not understand if you're making the right choice or not, because you got this network telling you this, you got this network telling you this, you got this physician telling you this, your own practitioner telling you this, and it creates all this uncertainty where when you make that decision, you're not even confident that you made the right decision, So what I pray for is my daughter that didn't have it once she was quarantined. I prayed that she didn't have it. There's no way to know, but she didn't have it in her system, because as you can have it in you and not have any symptoms. And if you get the COVID vaccination and have any of it in your system, it can make you pretty sick, because you're doubling up on the sickness that's already in your system. So, if I could shake a magic wand, and I pray for it, sometimes I wish that we could have enough common sense in our country, no matter who you listen to, that you get the facts, and those facts allow you to make the best decision for your family. And I think we're so divided as it comes to it. There's a lot of things I lean towards the left. There's a lot of things I lean towards the right. I'm not gonna lie, I'm typically a pretty conservative person, but I just wish there was a way that people felt more comfortable making decisions based on facts and not necessarily the opinions of people that are doing it for political reasons. And unfortunately, that's where we are in our country right now, and that's got to be fixed, because if there's anything, 9/11, just my opinion, 9/11, natural disasters, you see us come together as a country, as a people, as different races. This should be no differently, but for some reason, this continues to tear everybody apart. And
I believe you went muted on us, Kirby.
Faded out on us, Kirby.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the old lady was calling, so I had to cancel it out at the time. Anyways,
Kirby gonna be in trouble in a few minutes, Ace.
That's just my take. I wish that this wasn't something that was politicized or racially motivated or anything else, and you just got the facts, and you had those facts, those 20 facts that know that based on your circumstances, this is the decision I'm going to make as an individual, as a parent, as a citizen of the United States. But we don't, because it depends on what channel you get on. You get on this, they're going to tell you this. You get on this, they're going to tell you that. And so you really, unfortunately, you just got to rely on your own ability to decipher what you feel like is correct information and not. And who knows how accurate that is. But if I could make one change and shake a magic wand, that's what it would be. Give me the details. Shoot everybody straight. Don't make it a who's going to win the next election. If you say that you're anti-vax or for it for whatever reason.
Right.
Help us make our families safer and our environment safer by giving us the real story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's my soapbox.
All right, Kirby. Appreciate you.
We really appreciate you for coming on. Give me a shout this week. Let's talk. It's been a while. Let's catch up.
All right, man. Sounds good.
Hey, keep listening to us, and we appreciate it.
Hey, man. Eric and Ace, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for being on.
Absolutely. All right, take care, fellas.
Bye.
All right.
Well, fellas, I guess when we come back, we got asked. What are we doing? Is it Ace's place?
Ace's place today.
It's been a while.
Ace's place today.
And the big Diesel is going to be joining us here in a little bit. We'll see y'all in just a bit.
It's smart.
If you just think about it, everybody that has had a harm or a foul done to them has been paid some form of reparations, except for us.
It's informative.
Systemic racism is a form of racism that is embedded as normal practice within society or an organization.
It's funny.
We were doing a march for equal rights for people in the adult industry with missing limbs.
It's powerful.
That's the thing I feel our community is missing the most. We just don't take action. We're so skeptical of so many things that we wind up being the ones holding ourselves back.
It's rebrand us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Goodson, and this is Rebrand Us. I'm not muted now. Okay. We've been gone for quite some time, and we've come back. We've talked about COVID. We've talked about the vaccine. We've talked about these now hiring signs. And now we're about to talk to a dark spot, the Big Diesel.
Is that the Phantom calling it?
You have 24 hours to release.
It's by accident I clicked on. I'm trying to click on, so I didn't know I was going to be part of the show. Let me get my radio voice. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back part of the show. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing wonderful.
Yeah, we're doing wonderful. Midnight Storm.
But before we get to the Big Diesel, Ace's place. What you got, Ace?
Well, real quick, this evening for Ace's place, I just kind of wanted to address something that truly amazed me. You know, we joke all the time and we talk about people cooning and being coons and things like that. For my brothers and sisters of other races, a coon in the Black community is someone who completely sells out the race, things like that. Larry Elder, I never thought I'd meet the GOAT of coons, but you, sir, are the GOAT. If cooning had a Hall of Fame, you would be the logo. Like you're the coon logo on the jerseys and the merchandise. You know, this is a guy. Okay, I get it. You're Republican. You know, you have different views, but just because you're Republican, Larry, doesn't mean you have to downgrade your own people every chance you get a microphone, every chance you get in front of a camera. I mean, you literally, like, you have to hate. You can't be happy. You have to hate yourself. The way you talk about Black people, you probably whip yourself and like you probably like abuse yourself because you're Black. Because it's no way possible, and your family can't, like, there's no way possible you go to grandma's house for the holidays and they not looking you upside your head. And if you really from the hood, like you say you live in South Central, I'm pretty sure your cousins probably be threatening you and putting hands on you. You know, this guy.
Before you continue, Ace, I'm gonna show them a clip that we played at the beginning of the show to kind of give them an idea of what it is you're saying.
Yes, okay? Please.
By the way, when you mentioned that the UK was
ahead of us, they were. Do you know that the slave owners were compensated after they lost their quote unquote property? The government compensated slave owners.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when people talk about reparations, they really want to have that conversation because, like it or not, slavery was legal. And so their property, their legal property, was taken away from them after the Civil War. So you can make an argument that the people that are owed reparations are not only just Black people, but also the people whose quote property, close quote, was taken away after the end of the Civil War.
And then he on there discussing with her coon highness herself, you know, Candace Owens. Like, we give a damn about what y'all talking about. So you know, it's people like this that I think, you know. I put it to you like this. I think that people like Larry Elder, I think they're worse on the community than the people who we say, like, you know, the gangs and the violence and the drug dealing, stuff like that. I'm putting it on record. People like Larry Elder hurt our community more than drug dealers.
Absolutely.
And the gangs, because they put the image in the mind of the you know, the folks that are racist and things like that. You know, it's like, look at Larry, look what he said. You know, oh, well, like, just like Larry, he didn't have a problem with it and things like that. You know, I hope he get kidnapped, sold into the sex trade, and gangbanged by the Aryan Brotherhood. And that's all I got to say about Mr. Larry Elder. And public service announcement, Mr. Herschel Walker, I'm sorry for all the jokes I did. I didn't read your book. I didn't know that you were crazy. I'm sorry. No more jokes about you and your daughter. No more jokes about you and your son. I apologize, Mr. Herschel Walker. Please don't kill me. Please, please.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, joining us today is the Big Diesel, and oh no, it's not Shaquille O'Neal. Damon, what's happening, Damon?
Yeah. What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
Coming on this show looking like Thanos with bad credit.
Hey, you gotta give it credit. Nothing much, brother. Just getting off a long day of work, checking out the show, and I'll say you guys are doing a great job, man. Welcome back. We missed you. Glad your brother's in good health. For some of those that was not in the last couple months, a couple weeks, so we're glad y'all back.
Oh yeah, thank you,
man,
thank you. What's your take on it? What's your take on the COVID situation? Where you think we headed?
Man, you know what? the COVID situation is what it is, but I want to ask a question that's not trying to be funny that I heard recently, and I was wanting to get some thoughts about it, see if you guys heard anything about it. The new thing is that they say as far as males is that it's creating empathy. How you say that when it don't
Empathy.
Gotta go get my shot. Be right back.
Empathy. Yeah, and I heard that about males in general. And someone brought that excuse up, and I didn't know. I thought that was kind of funny with all the conspiracies that go behind it. But I'm for it. I got the shot. I didn't think twice about getting the shot. I figured if they're gonna get the shot, it's not a black or white thing. Now, of course, if you let your mind wander, you can think it is. It is gonna be a conspiracy. I mean, they're trying to find us. They're trying to put all different kind of trackers inside of us, whatever goes along. But I think I'm for it. I don't want. What's the worst? What's the worst thing that can happen if you don't get it, right? So you take the bad with the good. So I weighed the options. I'm for it. So that's my take.
We're gonna change tunes a little bit, Damon. We haven't talked about this just yet, but as we hopefully, I don't know if I see you in your car, you're driving, so you may not be able to see the video that we're actually playing right now. But we're gonna talk about Sha'carri here in just a minute.
This is not the ninth place. Okay. Lord, I don't want to see this.
We're talking about Sha'carri. So obviously, we've been off for quite some time. And that's the reason why we're talking about this old news for those of you who are wondering. But Sha'carri Richardson came in. Not only did she not beat the Jamaicans, she came in dead last place about a month ago. And
okay.
So anyway, Ace, go ahead. There's a lot to talk about that's wrapped around this. Number one, the way that people receive her. Number two, the way that she's interviewing right now. Then, of course, the third thing, in my opinion, is probably the fact that she came in dead last. Eric, Ace, give us your take.
I just think it was just lack of preparation. I think I don't think she was focused and things like that. I do want to say, as far as to us, the black community, I want to speak to the world, but you got to take her home first. As far as the black community, why do we wrap our arms around drug dealers, and why do we wrap our arms around what do they call now? Hot girls who just trying to
Instagram,
get the bag and stuff like that. Why do we wrap our arms around them? But when you have somebody else that has gained some fame, we all turn our back on. Because see, nobody had a problem with Sha'carri Richardson before the fame came. So you read the comments in these different posts, and it's 100% negative. And it's basically like little kids saying "I goody goody" and stuff like that. How do you look how do you look at her and say not say, hey, you know what, she needs some help. Hey, you know what, she needs some guidance. And things like that, especially people with children her age and stuff like that. Like, she's too cocky, stuff like that. What else is she supposed to be?
Deborah Goodson said that's not true. Please explain. Eric, what's your take on this?
Well, I would say this, that I'm married. I'm a youngest sibling of 7 kids, technically 8 kids.
That's a lot.
So I'm saying that to prove a point, right? So sometimes when you get a lot of people saying negative things about you, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, the case may be, you do become defensive. And you try to lash out at them before they lash out at you. Or, like I say, you do it defensively in response to something somebody said to you. Once again, I go back to maturity. Sha'carri is very, very young. She's a young lady. I think that we all have a lot growing up to do. So I think that the thing I agree with Ace about is we have to be able to have some empathy for people, whether they have fame, whether they're your sibling or family member. We have to learn how to support one another when it's good and when it's bad. Because the goal is to help climb up, not pull down. You know what I mean? So we can learn how to do that as not just black people. I see all kind of races do this now as well. That if we can just learn to push each other up and pull up as we go up, then we won't have a lot of defense. Defense goes down if you got a lot of support around you.
Somebody said, Chris Bell said, she's faster than a fat boy running for a hot dog. Absolutely. Damon, what's your take on this whole situation? And what advice do you have?
I'm glad you. Here we go. Now, I'm glad that two things. Muhammad Ali in his days was a bragger. He told you what he's going to do. He told you how he's going to beat you up. He told you what round he's going to beat you. And all of a sudden, at that time, they hated him, right? When he was going through, he's a young guy coming through bragging, and they hated him. But now he's deemed as the greatest to ever do it because he did it afterwards. So our people, at the same time, she's doing what she's doing. But once you hit a certain plateau in sports, they want you to lose. Everybody wants you to lose. The LeBron James, the Michael Jordan, everybody in those days can tell you. They can't tell you why they dislike him. They'll tell the Brett, I say Brett Favre, but he's different. But they can't tell you why they dislike him. But they can tell you why they hate him. Oh, I hate him because why do you hate him? Because he wins so much. So she was winning. If you're winning and you can talk that and people are gonna respect you. But once you lose, the world waits on you to lose so they can say, aha, look, you lost, you're not as good as you are, and we're ready to put it down. But at the same time, you have to carry yourself in a certain way to take it. You know you're gonna lose. The same way as you was bragging about how you were winning, you gotta be humble and say you're gonna do the best, you're gonna come back, but you gotta carry yourself in a way that the young people society, now everybody doesn't want to be a role model, but now she's deemed as a role model. No matter what she says going forward, she's deemed a role model. So we got the little kids looking up to you. So you just lost. Okay, why did you just lose? Prepare yourself for the conversation to say, why'd you just lose? I lost because of this. I lost because of that. Preparation, like Ace said, she didn't prepare for herself for the race. Hey, that's great. I mean, you were out, you did what you have to do, but the world got around you at a certain point where they wanted to boycott the Olympics and not even watch. It was a boycott going, oh, hey, don't watch the Olympics because Sha'carri is not going to be there. But there's other athletes that we need to watch that we need to support and get behind. So long story short, speaking of her, if you're gonna walk the walk, you got to be prepared to lose sometime and take it with grace. It's just the same as you winning, and be prepared to win again the next time. Because it's our next race, it's gonna be watched again. But if she lose, she's gonna lose a lot more than just races. She's gonna lose for his endorsements and the respect of our people, instead of standing behind her and say, way to go, hug her, and you can do it. So she got to get the right people in her corner to say, not the yes man, to say, no, you're not ready, don't race. Or someone should have been timing her before that race and said, no, you're not ready for this race. We're going to pass on this one. Let's fake an injury or whatever, but you're not ready to go. Because their last just don't make it.
Well, I think it's funny you bring up Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time, no doubt about it. He bragged about it, but every time he got in that ring, he proved why. Even when he lost, he proved why he was the greatest of all time. And it was bigger than just a ring for Muhammad Ali. He's a bigger than life type of person. Then you have Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders bragged and bragged and bragged. But my God, if he didn't show out every time he was on that field. So it's fine to get on the field or in the media or whatever and brag. That's fine as long as you put up the numbers, right? But then you got the Barry Sanders of the world. He did more than any running back out there. He probably not the number one rusher of all time, but he did more than most rushers, especially with what he had to work with, and said nothing. He said absolutely nothing. So you got two different ways, and both ways are okay. Sha'carri, on the other hand, she's more of a Muhammad Ali. She's going to do some talking. That's fine. But it's a couple things I believe Sha'carri has to understand. Number one, you're not going to win every time. That's number one. But number two, actually number two. Number one is, but when you do lose, be humble. Be humble. Be humble in your victory and give God the glory, but also be humble in your defeat, and be thankful for the place that you're in. I think that she's young, but we can't keep saying people are young. That's never really a good excuse. My daughter, when she's younger than her, if she'd have lost, she'd have taken it better. She's 18. So youth, your age, it has nothing to do with it. I think she needs the right people around her, but I'm pulling for her. I'm also pulling for our race of people, black people, because that's what Rebranders is really about. We're rebranding us as well as the U.S. But gosh, we don't have to choose a side on everything. The only time we truly, I believe, have to choose a side is when the Olympics come on, we're going to choose the American side, and Japanese are going to choose the Japanese. It's fun. That's why we do it. That's why we play the game. And Sha'carri, I think she just needs to understand you're not going to win every race. You're not going to come in second or third. Sometimes you're going to come in dead last. What are you going to do now? Simple as that. All right. I'm sorry. Got on my little soapbox. I think now it's time for us to watch some videos of the day. We got some really good videos that we're going to share with you guys. You can go actually just vote which one you think is funniest. Let me go ahead and tell you now, you're not getting anything, but your name might be said. Okay. All right. This is the first one that we have. We'll put you in a raffle. We'll put you in a raffle. But again, once we draw the last three numbers, nothing. All right. First video that we have. Here we go.
Oh, you got to start it from the beginning. Here we go.
They got a dog in their car, bro.
We got to do a blue shirt. We heard a song.
In case y'all missed it, let's watch it one more time.
Forget the kids.
Dude in the blue shirt. This guy
the dude in the blue shirt. And this guy wasn't so see the dog for anybody.
Let me tell you something. The thing about it, the dude in the blue shirt was saying everybody. He could have said everybody get in the house, we're gonna dog. He didn't say that. He said like,
it's every man for himself. It's every man for himself.
That's that stereotype where you see somebody running, you start running. That's what he had in his head.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm the guy in the white. I'm the guy in the white beater. I'll hit that dog.
All right, video number 2.
Hey,
I'm sorry, I can't make it bigger, y'all. That's what
she said.
Yeah, I like this.
You know the sad situation about this? He got a girlfriend.
I wonder what she said.
Well, you got to ride though.
It's fast.
I don't know what miniature speed bike. That mug is fast.
Let's watch it one more time. I wish I could fast forward. That is fast. He got a nice little motor in that go-kart.
Hey, but the style, the way he walked to it again, so like he getting in the real car, like, all right,
he confident.
He said,
I want to go to the grocery store. Like, you got room in there to put a couple of bags or something in there.
50 miles per gallon.
See, it's certain people that see. This is who you pull over and just you don't even ask for a license. You just yank on the car and whoop his natural.
All right, and I believe we got one more video, and finally, let's get to it. Of course, you guys are supposed to be voting on your favorite video. All right, Eric, I'll let you explain this one.
All right, guys, we're here at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. I'm Coach Salter. We're working our takedowns. You see here, Lindsay's a smaller opponent. When she shoots her double leg, as long as she runs her feet, it doesn't matter how big and strong he is, she's able to drive through it. So he's able to control the big opponent. That's what we're working on today.
You know what? What's funny? What's funny about this video is you got to read the meme. The meme said, "How did anyone keep a straight face after hearing that scream?" Let's watch it one more time. How did anyone keep a straight face after hearing that scream?
All right, guys, we're here at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu. I'm Coach Salter. We're working our takedowns. As you see here, Lindsay's a smaller opponent. When she shoots her double leg, as long as she runs her feet, it doesn't matter how big and strong he is, she's able to drive through it. So she's able to control the big opponent.
All that tells me is he's used to it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, every time Corey gets slammed, he screams like that. He sounds like I don't even know what it is. He just sounds like the proper word. He sounds like a wild banshee.
Hey, we're back. We are back. We've been gone for 6 weeks. For those of you who are just now joining us, I myself had COVID, and so did the Ace. He also had COVID. Kim, she had COVID at one point. Eric didn't have COVID, so it kept us back. We're thankful to be back. So that's the reason why we've been gone for so long. But thank you for joining us tonight. Hey, just keep sharing this show, y'all. We're having fun. We're going to get
share
better
this page tonight.
Ace.
Anyway, Ace.
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
I'm discussing the topics that have to deal with the black family. You know the food or the drink is good when the person says swallow instead of swallow. We do have a new sponsor. Today's show was brought to everybody by Pastor Jim Jones Flavor Kool-Aid. Let's all take a nap. Married couples that swing at the playground, are they confused or just risk takers? Giggity giggity.
You catch Adrian The Ace Stinson and the rest of the Rebranders crew live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on YouTube and Instagram at Rebranders Podcast, Facebook at Rebranders, or rebranders.org. I gave you the long tail that time.
Oh yeah, man! I like that music, man. It sounds like a Sanford and Son reboot.
Yeah. Deborah Goodson says she likes number 1 best. Leonard McDonald said he likes number 3 the best. 3 was funny. I agree.
It's definitely funny. Well, before I tell you guys who we're gonna have on next week's show, I just want everybody to know tonight's show is sponsored by the Tekashi 6ix9ine fan club. So don't worry if you missed anything because they're gonna tell you all about it. Anyway, through my COVID, on my sick bed, I managed to reach out to some people, and I found some good people for the show. So next week, we're actually going to interview professional rock climbers with stubby fingers. Their motto is "Get a grip on life." So we're definitely going to talk to these guys, and they're just going to go over the struggles of their everyday. Especially when they have to do that one move where they just hanging with one arm. They doing like that, hanging with one arm. And that thumb only about that long.
Yeah. All right, so we had a question thrown out there. I'm glad. I'm gonna let one of you guys answer it. Kirby, as a matter of fact, he was on the show earlier. He said, "What's behind the Rebranders name?" Which one of you guys want to answer?
I think we all can tag team it. I'll start though. For me, rebrand. I mean, I think Anthony hit on it earlier. Just a brief moment. Rebranding is mostly about rebranding the whole United States. Obviously, there's 3 African American, Black, however you want to categorize us, men on this show right now. We have a Kim who's a female, but also African American or Black. So we have to start at home with the people that look like us too. So we want to brand how we view ourselves if it's negative and make it more positive, and then also how the outside world looks at Black and African American people. So that's the whole goal in my head. But it means a lot of the different things to me, and it's not as simple as just saying that. It's so many carrots to go into each one of those segments to me. But that's just the paper in the bottle type of answer right there for you.
Ace.
Okay. Just kind of basic same. We're gonna rebrand. We're gonna rebrand everybody. Definitely. One of the goals is changing the perspective of the way that America and society sees us, as Black people, definitely Black males. But that us, if you notice, is capitalized. It also stands for it's us, but then it stands for the U.S. as well. So we want to rebrand the way that we see each other. So Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everything. I think what has happened is we have let in society today, we have let the racists and the dividers and the haters, we've actually let them take over, and now they're controlling the images. So we want to rebrand everybody. I want to change the way that all of us look at each other and see the truth, because it sounds cliche, but there's some fine folks on all sides. But now truly, I think there's more good than bad, but I think the bad is being highlighted more. And so what we're about is rebranding the way we look at each other, and then we're solution based. We don't want to point the finger and point at the problem. What we want to do is say, okay, how do we fix this? How do we move on? How do we proceed? How do we proceed to live amongst each other?
Absolutely. And I'll back cleanup, I guess, in this situation, even though I'm third. Well, the way that it started, Kirby, who's the person who asked about that, the way that it started about 10 years ago, we were sitting around looking at cop killings, Trayvon Martin, all these different things. And we were like, man, why are they killing us like this? Because I've had the same situation when I was a kid, and I'm sure these two have too. And so we were like, wow, what's going on? Do we just, do we push out that kind of negativity all the time? And so me and Eric actually came up with the idea of rebranding. We're like, maybe we need to rebrand us, just Black people. It was lowercase US at that time. And so we were like, maybe we need to rebrand us. And time went on. We started doing stuff, trying to have meetings, this, that, and the other. And then in the middle of that, we started realizing, well, why do we have to change who we are? Like, I'm not a bad guy. Neither is Ace, neither is Eric. Why do we have to change who we are and what we do? Because, I've said this story many times, but I put my hand in my pocket. And to this day, at 43 years old, and when I go into stores oftentimes, so people would know that I'm not stealing. Okay. So why do I have to rebrand me? And so, then George Zimmerman came through. He was killed about a year and a half or so ago. And once he was killed, not George Zimmerman, I'm sorry, George Floyd. And when he was killed, we saw it and we realized, wait a minute, it ain't us. It's the U.S. that needs to be rebranded. And for those commercials that you see, like you'll see rebrand, and then they have a flip of all the things we could rebrand. There's a lot of things we need to rebrand. We need to rebrand the government. We need to rebrand this. We need to rebrand that. But also we need to rebrand us, meaning U.S., meaning all of us, meaning our race as well. So that's kind of where it came from. There's a lot of things that we need to do as a country, as Christians, as people, that could make us much better in this, in this country, in this society, in this world. So that's where rebranders came from. But everything is not about race on this show. 50% of it is about strengthening Black people. 0 is about weakening anybody else. That's what we're about. And then other stuff is to try to make you laugh and enjoy yourself. So, and that's something I can associate with, but can give you another perspective. Hey, Kirby, we would appreciate you to come on. We would appreciate you to talk to us and definitely give us your perspective. You're doing good things.
And real quick though, to kind of say this, we got already a little bit over, but real quick though, going back to what Ace said though, we're giving the power to all there's probably more people that feel like us in regards to like want to be union and want to be together and want to figure out how to get this thing accomplished. But what's happening over the last few decades, honestly, is it's fewer people who want to divide, but their voices are louder. You know what I'm saying? So you hear the louder voice, but not the voice of the many that's kind of being more meek and mild or whatever. I'm not saying we need to get loud and embrace it. I'm just saying that we need to speak up and have these conversations so we can bring union and less divide in the country.
Absolutely. I don't think I need to say anything else. We'll be right back here next Wednesday at 7:30 Central PM. And we hope that you all will join us and continue to share this page. We're trying to have fun. We're trying to do big things. And we're trying to do things for our community. See y'all next week.
Haiti.
Rebrand us. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian The Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Rusher.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Goodson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, or the first Blacks to do something, their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's Rebrand You, Rebrand Me. It's Rebrand Us.